Hello, team, and welcome back to another Line War cast. This is your map, and you're going to notice that it looks entirely different than any other video we've done in this series, and that is because today we are casting a team game in the beta for Line War. Team games and free-for-all are coming to Line War, and this is, as you can see, a development build, so don't take it too seriously. The devs are still working hard at making it what it needs to be, the true potential, but it's been very fun playing on it myself a few times. Two teams today. We have Notorious and Nubs, and someone said that my nickname sucks on Alpha Team. In I assume it's going to be blue. It's these blue territories, and Bravo Team is Clutchy and Deedland. So that you'll notice that there's a new picking phase. The way it goes is it's sort of like each team picks spots on the map that they would like to go. The other team will pick where they would like to go. The blacked out parts like this are where both teams wanted to go, and so neither team can go here anymore. So blue's territories, all the ones that people on Alpha Team can go, are in blue, and all the places that Bravo Team can go are in orange. We'll learn more about team games, and I'm sure there will be a video to explain this picking phase. But here we go. So Alpha Team is on the left here. Nubs in the top left in blue, nickname in red. Switching is going to be wild here because I have to switch between 4 players to get to the different viewpoints. And this is Bravo Team, Deedland, and the little bit left to Clutchy. Clutchy in orange, Deedland in teal. I'm pretty sure is the name of this color. And the best thing about team games, we can zoom in more than we've ever been able to zoom in before. That is enormous. I love it, at least. So Deedland's going for a factory and a barracks. Clutchy's not put down anything yet. Let's see what Alpha Team's up to. 3 factory, all going artillery for nickname. And Nubs going for an airport and 3 tanks, sitting on a gas. So presumably Nubs is going to go for a high gas play. The way that team games can work is that you can transfer money and gas energy to your ally. There's a little menu item when you're playing the game that allows you to decide how much energy or income you're giving to your ally. You need to share bordering territory with your ally in order to trade money, and I believe the amount of territory that you actually share, like bordering territory with your ally, means you can transfer more money more quickly. The way to transfer energy is that you can connect refineries to your allies' refineries or your allies' depots. We'll see how it comes into play. I'm not sure if any of this is going to change before the team games are released. So don't quote me on this. But how exciting. Nickname's going for a little bit of industry. We can zoom in on the farm. Love it. 1 barracks. The first few tanks for Nubs are coming out at this point, and I assume it's just going to be continuous tanks. Clutchy going for a quick town after going for 2 factory, 2 barracks, and a farm here. Deedland also going for a farm. Deedland will see. I mean, this is Bravo Team's vision, what we're looking at right now. So Deedland's made first contact with nickname. At least the Bravo Team knows where Alpha Team is at this point. And same thing. Alpha Team, by nickname's vision, is able to see where Bravo Team is. Nubs is going to get this top left island for free. I don't even know how we're supposed to look at the economy of the teams, and I'm not even going to try this game. Usually we would look in the top right corner, but I think we'd have to cycle through everybody, because Clutchy's making $3.99. Yeah, and Deedland's making $3.54. So it's not shared amongst teams the way that we're looking at the economy for now. I don't know if we'll be able to figure out if teams are trading economy or trading gas quite easily. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball it here. Income is not important. Let's just look at the map and see how both teams are doing. Conceptually, Alpha Team has a decent amount of territory, but so does Bravo Team. It's probably a little bit in Alpha Team's favor. At the moment, 11 minutes into the game. You'll notice that we started the game at about 8 minutes because the picking phase does take more time, but there's more depth to the picking phase in a team game, in my opinion. The way that the picking phase works, and then also the dynamic of playing with somebody else. Not sure if these players are on voice chat or if they're just doing text chat in-game. We can't see it. But here comes our first little skirmish of the game. Deedland's going to take on Nickname in this mountain range potentially, and a combination of Deedlin and Clutchy are going to take on these infantry for nickname. This is where, I mean, combined arms and coordinating with your teammate is just such an enormous thing in the team game. And here we go. We already have 2 fronts going. We're about to open up a 3rd front in the top right. Or top left, pardon me. I know my left and rights. The tanks for Nubs are going to go after these infantry. And the nickname's going to have to back up because this is a lot of stuff that's going to pour through this little gap in the map. These infantry need backup. Look at this super zoomed in view. Love it. The infantry are able to get across. I assume the tanks will also be able to get across, but we might find it that the tanks actually can't fit through this little gap. 4th factor on the way for Deedland. Clutchy starting to build some tanks, transition into tanks. There's no energy yet for Bravo team. And this mountain range could be a huge thing here, right? Mountain ranges, if we've learned anything in the game of Line War, it's that mountains are a great defensive position. It'll depend who controls this. It's a very central part of the map. Let's take a look at what Alpha Team's doing. Tanks and helicopters for Nubs, who has now transitioned into some sort of SAMs. I'm not sure how many more tanks are on the way. There's only 1 gas for Alpha Team at the moment. Nickname's not going for any gas units, so Nubs should be able to run the tanks and the helicopters off of 1 gas for a little bit. A 2nd gas would be needed relatively soon. This is a great trade for Nickname because all these infantry, as they move through the mountains, they move slower. And that means that the artillery can actually take more shots, so the infantry can't get on top of the artillery and clean it out as quickly or as easily. Nickname's making their way to the bottom right side of the map, getting more eco. Still no joining of the territories for Alpha Team. Bravo Team's already got like bordering territories, so they could be leveraging like income transfer to each other, whereas Alpha Team still cannot. Nubs is out of gas, going for a 2nd gas at the moment. Still no depot on the way. So one thing that's nice in team games is that if Nickname were to have gas units here, Nickname could put down a depot, and then Nubs just connects the depot to like the refinery, and then all of a sudden Nubs is just getting gas. As long as Nubs in that UI setting decides to transfer gas to Nickname. So you don't automatically transfer to ally, you still have to decide on it and how much to give as a percentage of the amount of energy that you're making. Very interesting dynamic. It'll make the coordination of teams that much more important. Nubs is going for tanks on the left-hand side, just a little bit of a push on Deedlin's main base, and Nickname's left to deal with this smaller army for Bravo Team, but still a lot of combined arms here. Tanks, artillery, and infantry. One of the nice things about Nubs parking tanks here is that Deedlin has to be careful and can't really move all this army out of the main base and, like, you know, push through the mountains or try to cap through the center, because if they were to do that, Nubs could just jump on the production, and it would be a huge play and would be crippling for Bravo Team. Nickname's on the bottom right. Let's see where Bravo Team is. Yeah, on the far right, Bravo Team. Connecting in the middle, these folks have the best assignment of the entire conflict. And quite a big army for Deedlin that's set up here. A lot of artillery, a decent number of SAMs. I say decent, it's really only 2, but I don't think Nubs has helicopters super close to this. And this is a great push, I think, from Bravo Team to try to cut, like, and encircle Red's main base. There are some infantry that we saw down here for Nickname, but it's not like they're going to be capping a ton. Here comes a big push with the tanks diving on 1 factory. If they get 1 factory and get out, this could be worth it for the tanks, but this is a very expensive fight, especially if the tanks get body blocked on the way out. Nickname is going to cut off this little gap instead of also pushing on Deedlin's base. I think this is probably a fine call, because there's a lot of, if Bravo Team, or pardon me, if Alpha Team can control this gap, then it makes it so Clutchy has to either push through this gap or go around. And now we're seeing that Alpha Team is starting to get closer to each other, so it should be, like, make it easier for Alpha Team to coordinate and fight at once, because we've seen Bravo Team take coordinated fights, but blue and red have not quite yet. Here comes 2 helicopters, which is the first instance of blue and red fighting together. And this is great, 2 helicopters. There's no SAMs over here for Clutchy yet. Deedlin's the only ones with the SAM, so this is a good pushback. And Clutchy knows it and is backing up, which is definitely the right call. A lot of SAMs for Nickname. That's definitely enough to deal with the 1 airport that's coming up for Clutchy at the moment. Clutchy's now done capping the right-hand side of the map. And here comes a decent fight. Exclusively between Nubs and Deedlin. 2 infantry for Nickname just chilling in the back and going to cap, I assume. And let's see where they're capping. So Deedlin actually has a barracks back here. Nubs is aware enough to send a striker, which is unfortunate for Deedlin. It's a really good play for Deedlin to get a barracks back there. And here comes this defensive line is just coming in clutch for Nubs. There's a numbers disadvantage for Nubs, but because of the defensive line, these artillery are at least going to take a lot of time to destroy. Clutchy going for a counter push. These artillery are caught out for red. Nickname has to deal with all this. I mean, this is... all of this army of yellow taking all of red's economy here and taking all this territory is a relatively big deal, and Nickname gets a little bit of buffer time because of these mountains and because of where the main base is. Deedlin's going to take out this defensive line. This is going to be a position where Deedlin can probably counter push. The infantry that have capped the top left, there's a town there, are making their way back to get back in the fight. Red and yellow taking a fight, blue and teal taking a big fight as it is right now. This must be like a play in team games, because you don't really see this in 1v1, where these just like defensive lines of artillery in random positions. But I kind of like it because it delays, like, this defensive line for blue delayed this army quite a bit, and this defensive line of yellow is going to delay this army a little bit. The only saving grace for Nickname is this 1 helicopter that's just pelting these artillery, and they will get the cleanup, especially as these other artillery show up. Commando drops on the far right side for Nickname. We're going to assume that's going to go into Clutchy's base in the top right. Huge fight in the mountains, and we can just zoom out a little bit. I'll stop clicking around, and we got a big fight on the top left. We have no idea what the incomes are, which is a very important thing at this point to see which team can produce more units. I think overall this fight for red is going to start to slowly turn around, and Nickname's going to be able to either counter push or at least stabilize. The fight between Nubs and Deedlin is a little bit closer up here. Here come planes, though. So Nubs is the only one with the gas. Nickname still has no gas units. It's not like there's any need. It's just all artillery, infantry, and SAMs. Nickname is going to clear out this position. Unfortunately for Clutchy and Bravo Team, the factory and a barracks is going to go down. First transport jet is done. There's 2 commandos, so Nickname can send that out whenever they feel like it. Something important to note is that these do take gas. Nickname is using a gas unit here, so Nickname won't be able to ferry units constantly unless they were to build a depot and get Nubs to start sharing some of the gas. Let's see if that comes into play here. First SAM is out and dug in for Clutchy, but unfortunately 1 helicopter and then a handful of artillery that got some shots in, probably going to be able to take this out. And I stand totally corrected. The helicopter goes down first and then the SAM does to apparently nothing. I don't even know it took a shot there. Good attempt from Deedlin to get into the mountains, but they have to be careful because if this position goes down for Bravo Team, then this will slowly collapse, because then Nubs is going to be able to push up here and start encircling this position of Bravo Team. And that'll allow a Nickname to get more aggressive or send more units down to the bottom here to clean the rest of this up. Tanks on top of the production. This time there's a little bit less units, but the tanks are still gonna I mean, they're going to take a decent trade. They're going to get the factory, but then potentially at least one more tank is going to go down here. Tanks versus the mini tank of the Sam. Got to be the coolest unit in the game. Ripping that firecracker the whole time. And let's try to do something that is not super possible, which is check the economies. I'm not even going to try to do it. It's too many players. This is great. I'm surprised that Clutchy was able to pull this out. To clutch that out in the bottom right and actually keep a factory and rebuild the barracks. Let's see how many things Bravo Team has back here. It's just one barracks. But that one barracks is pulling a lot of units for Alpha Team to the back. Which could be important. Yeah, Nubs is at 733. And Nickname is at 678. So what is that, like 1400-ish? And then Clutchy's at 859. And Deedlin's at 510. So it's like relatively similar for both Bravo Team and Alpha Team. Clutchy's got 2 interceptors now, a striker on the way. Here comes this drop, a double drop. This plane's going right for the gas. And Nickname didn't even see this. It's just a good guess as to where the gas would be. I mean, I guess Nickname went to drop this gas and also this gas to try to go at the energy immediately. You can see Nickname's down on energy as it stands, whereas Nubs has energy, is still using a ton. So I'm really interested to see if Nubs and Nickname are going to start transferring gas pretty soon. Clutchy's tanks reinforcing. Probably won't be able to save Deedlin's factory, and definitely can't. But these 3 blue tanks with a little bit of micro from Bravo Team, they are going to go down. 4 blue tanks cutting across the center. And I guess what's happened is that Nickname's called in reinforcements to deal with this proxy base, which is very important. I'm not sure if Clutchy and... yeah, Bravo Team does not see this airport. The commandos do snipe that gas, which could be important because Clutchy is totally out of gas. Deedlin doesn't have any gas units, but none of these planes can fly, and these 3 tanks can't move either because Bravo Team's out of that gas. Potentially a push going on here, but with the 4 tanks going down to the south, I assume these artillery will just sit here and make it so that Bravo Team can't just push through this channel. Channel is what I called it. That little pass, whatever it is. Alpha Team's now cleared out the barracks. It's only a matter of time before all of these infantry for Deedlin get cleaned up because of the numbers advantage for Alpha Team. Nickname's backing up here. This is likely the big priority for Alpha Team right now. This is the only thing stopping Alpha Team from sending everything forward and continuing with this boxing. Right, because if we look at the map, as long as this gets cleared up, then Alpha Team's going to have more of the map, and then more economy. And that's never a great place to be in. Nickname's still running around with commandos, trying to snipe the gas again. These are going to be very annoying for Clutchy to deal with. Especially without the gas, because these planes, I think, could actually reach it. The interceptors and the strikers could help clean out those commandos. With 4 more tanks and all of this artillery, Clutchy might be able to make a defense here. The tanks are getting kind of caught up against the units, but I suspect just numbers-wise it's not going to work out. This is where it's huge that Nickname was able to snipe that gas, because all the planes for Clutchy could have been flying here. Right, yeah, like all the strikers and the interceptors could have been over here dealing damage to the tanks and the artillery for Alpha Team. Big push from Clutchy. This is the breakout moment. It's a pretty good moment to go for it, because Clutchy would know that Nickname's got some artillery down here and that Nubs has tanks as well. So all this infantry, or artillery, pardon me, for Red is relatively undefended. And when I say relatively, there's no meat shield at all, so all this infantry is going to be able to just push through. At the same time, Alpha Team is going to clean up that proxy base. Clutchy is out of gas, which we knew. It's because these commandos sniped the gas. They did it. They did it at the last second. Like out of a movie. Yeah, this line disappearing. Deedlin and Clutchy are probably going for a push because they know they're about to get boxed in. I mean, this is how much map Bravo team has. And now Alpha team's got the whole thing in the bottom here. If that barracks was able to stay up for Deedlin, this game becomes way different. Because it would add extra pressure on the back for Alpha team. So now with this cleared up, I mean, there's still some yellow territories that need to be recapped, but in general, Alpha team can send all their stuff forward now and focus only on that. Nickname's got a refinery here. It's not connected to anything yet. If it is, I can't see it. So no energy transferring yet. Huge tank push. Nubs is about to run out of gas, and that's the sound that we hear. Nickname has a full 30 gas, so there's no transferring. What's funny is that Nickname could actually transfer energy to Nubs given the situation, given how many tanks there are. If Nubs were to run out of gas, and all these tanks get picked off, this is an enormous army from Deedland. The one problem is that if these 4 tanks decide to jump on the production, it could really force Alpha Team into a bigger, like, all-in, quote-unquote, than they already are doing. Here comes a huge drop from Nickname. 2 transport ships full of commandos. 4 commandos will be able to take out an airship very quickly. Perfect number of SAMs, really, for Deedland here to deal with the helicopters. There's a handful more. I mean, there's a handful more helicopters here. These units are all capping for Alpha Team and taking away economy from Bravo Team. This is pain. This is just big pain. 4 commandos. How many commandos does it take to shoot at tarmac to destroy it? And it's not that much. We can see how much damage that airport's taken. We'll zoom out for a second. The commandos are definitely going to be able to take out this airport. That is a certainty. And one of the unfortunate things for Bravo Team is that when that airport falls, I don't think there is an airstrip for Bravo Team, so these planes are gonna just explode. Because that's the natural thing that a pilot would do if there's no place to land. Of course. Something else interesting in team game dynamic is that if your ally builds an airstrip, you can choose to share that airstrip with your allies so that allied planes can land at that airstrip. Very cool dynamic. Makes for a lot of interesting strategy choices. We don't have to worry about anywhere else on the map. There's no other map presence for Bravo Team. This push is really it. It has to do a lot of damage and at least break out of this position and start taking economy back. Otherwise, slowly this is not gonna work out just money-wise for Bravo Team. And Nickname's doing exactly what you would expect in this position, just defending with artillery. Over time, the economy is gonna work out in Alpha Team's favor, so defending right now is a good play. And attacking from Bravo Team is also a great play, because this is what needs to happen. No more commando drops in the back. A good amount of garrisons now for Bravo Team in case, if Nickname continues to do these commando drops, which is, probably expected. It's this mountain range that's just going to be so difficult to break without having air support. Even with an overwhelming number of artillery for Bravo Team, they'll have to go through the mountains, and the whole time they're waiting to get into firing range, Nickname will be able to get off like 1 or 2 shots as the artillery deploys since they're moving so slowly. This position is unfortunately collapsing for Deedland, who held off the tanks from Nubs for so long. It's just a really tough spot to have to attack in for Bravo Team. Like, if Deedland's kind of going through this forest, which I think is the play. Or sorry, Clutchy's going through the forest, which is the play. Not really sure how else Bravo Team could play this. It's tough because if Bravo tried to sweep to the left-hand side here, then Nickname could just push through this gap. So Clutchy kind of has to have units here. This is a great fight, but Deedlin's gonna unfortunately... I just don't think it's gonna be able to work to push through the mountains. It just gives so much time for Red to field more reinforcements. And it's important to note that when Red controls these mountains, their units move slightly quicker than Deedlin's units, since it's a Red territory. So it makes it even worse once Deedlin were to reach this mountain range. Huge army from Clutchy here. And unfortunately for Bravo team, Deedlin is in the tough spot of defending all of this blue army. Clutchy's trying to help out, but the damage is really done at this point, and econ-wise, it's probably looking pretty dire. More eco for Alpha team, capping all of this. A dock, even, for Nickname. So, it's, yeah, so Nubs... Well, I'm trying to realize if there's energy sharing yet. I don't think there is. Since that refinery is not connected. I said this was a great garrison, and it is, but with 3 transport planes, it's just such an unbelievable amount of damage that commandos can do. Great look at the team game dynamic. Clutchy's running in with reinforcements. Congo line of Sams for Deedlin are providing a little bit of a buffer. It's just so much for blue. And when Red cleans all of this up, it'll take a while. And the SAMs are showing up, so they'll be able to help with the helicopters. But once that is done, I mean, the blue is just going to be able to push through here. The Nubs will drop in from this side, and it's just too much. The eco difference is too heavy. Here come 4 strikers. 4 strikers are going to do a ton of damage. City on the way for Nubs in the top left. And that's going to be pretty much the crushing blow. This is a big army, but as long as this army doesn't clear all of Red's buildings, the game is over. Nickname's going to drop like 4, potentially even 5 commando planes. Transport planes, rather. On some of Clutchy's production. Opening up this second front, and importantly making it so that Clutchy has to keep some units at home to defend these commandos instead of sending them all to this position to dig in and defend, which is the play, to stem the damage from blue pushing through the left here. Okay, so here come about 3,800 commandos, and they're gonna just pretty much nuke a factory and a barracks. The damage output is wild. One single helicopter for Nubs getting in the mix. Yep, this is a lot of damage. And then over time, Nickname just continues dropping commandos. This would probably turn into a proxy base. The money is going out of control. Clutchy resigns. And that's pretty much, I mean, that's the end of the game. I think. Technically, we're going to wait for Deedlin to... Yeah, okay, so Deedlin resigns. Well played. Very great game. I guess it's going to go to... Oh, the main screen. Love it. You never saw any of this. Beta. But folks, hype. Okay? Check out the Line Word Discord if you want to learn more about the game. Check out Twitch. I stream on there as SodaQuackers. Same name. Drop by, ask questions. Hope to see you on ladder. And look forward to team games and free-for-all again. Peace, folks.